that I taught you that and you weren't quite understanding me, would you then make all your blocks like this? Now why didn't he understand? Because he forgot that when we block at a 45, we're no longer blocking with this, we're blocking with this. But I didn't quite understand it, so now I'm thinking everything is blocked like this. Okay? So maybe that's how this got this misconception. But I illustrate how this block works. I tell everybody, and I always have a piece of wood with the symbol. I say, okay, you block like this, it's just bone. It's thin bone, it hurts. But if you turn like this, you now have muscle. Right? And now you have stronger. Right? So I try to illustrate as I'm talking about this block and what it is. Come around. Come around. You've seen this, haven't you? A lot. Student does this. He's pulling back like this. He doesn't understand the block. Come around. Protect the groin. Block. Come around. Protect the groin. Block. Again, 90-degree angle. 45. Fist. Shoulder. 90. 45. Fist distance. Right? Illustrate. Again, you brown belts, it's very important. Who are you going to catch? Who's going to need your help back there? You know? Is your instructor going to have to run all the way back there? He's got 40 people. He's already stuck with Don. His mom can't get it out. He's ready. And that guy's messed up too. You can't get momentum going. You got to get 5 of you guys. It's your job. Each one of you to help out. If you don't help out, why are you there? You see? We help everybody. So it's important. Also, by you helping out, you'll become better teachers. And you'll also become better martial artists because you correct your own mistakes. You're aware of the problems that other people have. The best thing you can do is to teach. I have black belts that say, well, I don't have any students anymore. I'm not working out. I said, once you get one, two, teach them. So you keep your technique sharp, your responses where they need to be. Double bone block. Double bone. Make sure it circles in there. Don't let it get out here. Make sure that someone's blocking with it. Actually blocking with it. Not pulling back. Big problem. What's the next one? You got it now. High block. Right here. I tell everyone, okay, about a fist level up here, about an inch above my head. My fist level is about an inch above my head. See? It's right here at about 15 degrees off the center of my body. Not 45, and I illustrate the 45 like this. You want to do? So a guy is up here with his high block, and if he's at a 45, I can pull it right down. You get the biggest, strongest guy sometimes to do this with. I'll find me a big, old, strong, muscular guy, and I'll say, put your arm at a 45, hold mine. I say, well, here, hold my little finger. They don't have the strength. Their muscles are not set in the right position to do anything. We know about weightlifting. Everybody's done a little of it, I'm sure, or been through some kind of weightlifting. What's the first thing they tell you about weightlifting? Body position. Muscle, bone, body. If your muscle and your body and your bones are not in the right position, you have no strength to make that lift. That's one of the reasons why you bend whenever you pick up weights instead of going muscles and bones. Same way here. Muscles and bones. Now at a 15 is strong. Show the illustration. Right? Why an inch above the head? Well, a little bit more protection there, right? That's about where you're going to be. You're trying to either take a high hammer or a high punch. Right? The guy says, well, yeah, but it's only protecting half my face. I said, well, that's why you got another one. You know? And I mean, if the guy's throwing a right at you, you don't start with your left. Right? So I mean, here, you've got to protect. See? So keep those things in mind. Explain this high block. Last 6 inches before you make your final portion of your block turn. Turn. At this point, I tell everyone there are certain things that are true about punches and blocks, and that is your hand is in the same position on all of them. What do you mean? Well, single bone block looks like a front punch. Double bone block looks like a front punch. Cross body block looks like a front punch, doesn't it? This wrist doesn't change. I don't do this for single bone. I don't do this for single bone. I don't do this for double bone. That wrist is in the same position as if I was throwing a punch. that's where you'll see most of the mistakes in kata. Now, you'll see guys, their hands are bent. So that's a small thing. Well, how can you say you know the kata then if you're missing one small thing? It's only a small thing. I left the transmission out of the car. It's not a big item. Left the lug nut off the wheel. It's not a big item. Left the carburetor off the engine. It's not a big item. But how can you say it was a complete car? So how can you say it's a complete kata when you're missing one little thing? So before you teach that next kata, and I know everyone wants to teach their student the next kata because the guy says, I know this kata. I'm ready for the next one. Of course, one of our protocol things says you don't do that, but nonetheless, you can say to the guy, oh, you did. Let's see. Pick them out. Go throw them. That's why it's so important. Okay, so now then we know we have our high block here, right? What's the next one? What's the next one? Huh? Punch, kick. Use it. So I say punch, kick, under. Right? Doesn't that describe it? Makes it so simple for the guy. Punch, kick, under. Use some verbal commands here to demonstrate what you're doing. This is all becoming a teacher. Now I have several things I have to talk about there. We already know what the punch is. It's a reverse punch. But we've kind of done that in this, so it's nothing new for you guys. It's a reverse punch, but it's again to the center. My other hand is pulled back here. Now I want to be able to kick under this punch. That makes sense, doesn't it? I'm going to kick under. We have several habits in our kicks that other styles don't. And one, we don't lunge, so that makes it a little bit different. We kick with the tips of the toes. The guy says, man, I break my toes. Well, the reason we kick with the tips of the toes is it can penetrate like a spear versus a ball or boxing glove or something of this nature. So the only way you're going to build up the strength in your toes is through exercise, and this is one of the exercises. By forcing the toes straight forward, you are building that foot strength by pushing forward. Another habit that we have is that we pull back as fast as we go out. Example being that if we kick out there at 10 miles an hour, we pull back at 10. We don't kick out at 10 and come back at 3. You know, or we don't go out at 3 and come back at 10. You try to make it go equal. There's a couple of reasons for pulling our leg up, pushing it out, pulling it back. It's building muscles and strength. That's why a guy says, well, we do this big, long, deep stance, and I want strength in my legs. Want strength in your legs? Do more kicks. You'll have the strength. That's the illustration I give people when they ask me about the big stance versus short stance. I say in the bar, in the alley, in the confrontation, you don't have time to do this. Right? Most places that will occur either in a crowded area or you're going to be just walking along naturally. So this is why our stance is a natural upright stance. Pick the leg up. Count it out at 4 for them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, take them 1, knee up, hip high, waist high, out, back. Now step down, toe heel again. Up, out, back, down, toe heel again. We kick with the tips of the toes. We pull our leg back. One of the other things we do is if I kick at someone and they kick me, kick back at me, my foot comes back for what again? Protection. But you start asking your students as you go through this. You're at about this level. You've been repeating yourself a dozen times. Start saying, why do we do this? Get their response. It's just a patience. They say, for protection. For. What do? I pull my leg out and then back. Get their participation in this. Right? You've got to get them active. You've got to make that gray matter start working. Otherwise, they will not correct themselves. Now, I want you to go home and do your kata. Don't correct yourself, just go and do your kata. But if you've instilled it in their mind, all these little things, they'll correct themselves. So much easier to have habits on the basics. It makes the kata go much easier. All right, so now then, I punch, and what do? Kick under. See, punch, kick. It's confusion. You mean I just punch and then I kick? Punch, kick under. Now, what's one bad habit most people do is this. They go like this. Right? They kick. They drop it down. What's another bad habit they'll start? Watch my kick from here. Watch it. See? Got all this distance in here. Instead of pulling it in tight. Just like with the punch sliding across, along the ribs here. You got to punch, kick under. Okay? Then get them to do what? Step, toe, heel. Toe, heel, right? Start talking to them, making them, you can see when people are grasping what you're saying. Okay? So if that's number 12, remember in sets of 4, that was an unusual one. What would number 13 I asked you earlier about? What? So it's an unusual one too. 14, 15. Okay, so now we're in kind of kicking motions all of a sudden. So it's easy to say that number 13 breaks and separates, and then from there for a while we go to kicks. Right? See? So you can say 13 is a final punch. What did we start off with? Punch. So 13 is easy to remember. It's just like number 1, except what? We're moving. And what am I doing that I did in number 8? I'm keying. What am I trying to teach you? Breathing. And now I'm teaching you to do what? Step, toe, heel, then punch and key eye. Step, toe, heel, punch, and key eye. See how easy it is to memorize these things? But you put it in your brain in a series and sequence that is easy for you. And isn't that what you're trying to teach your students? Take you through it just like I'm taking it through with you. Now, I'm over exaggerating right now. I'm taking a little extra time because I want you to create some habits. Okay? So you step and you punch. Okay? Good foundation. Good strength. Talk to them about that. Pretty soon, just like touching the hand, pulling the hand back, you can say, come on, foundation. Think about it. Think about it. Toe, heel, toe, heel. You're a drill sergeant if you're nothing else. You're a computer technician. You're a school teacher teaching auto mechanics. You're a coach teaching them to run around the track. You're the teacher. Communicate. Don't just work out. Copy me. I've got the black belt on. It doesn't work. They're paying for instruction. Give it to them. And don't just leave and work out. Biggest mistake is too many instructors work out. They don't teach. There's where you lose them. You lose a lot of students that way, by the way. Okay, so now then. You're enthusiastic. They're enthusiastic. We all feel it. It's going. We got number 14. What was that one? Remember, it's the first set of series of kicks. What kind of kick is it? Front kick. So I really don't have to change my stance much. All I got to do is kick. From the front stance, I'm going to put my hands on my hips. You see a lot of guys losing their balance? This is an easy way to get balance. It's also an easy way to teach them to put some weight in there and balance. Again, pick it up. 1. See, I lost my balance. 1. Lost my balance. Now, why are they losing their balance? Most of the time, it's because they are rocking on a foot. They're going like this. See that foot rock? Watch him. Watch your student. He'll show you. He'll go, and his body just went off at an angle. He'll try to compensate. Look, this hand is still on the hip, but this one went over here. He's lost it. Okay? Get him to get down here a little bit. Get a good stance again. Good foundation. Tell them to think about these toes. Grip with the toe and the heel. Remember I told you about this gripping with the toe? You got to make them aware of the foot. So now they grip with the toe. They pull the leg up. If it's out here, they lose their balance. If it's over here, they lose their balance. Tell them to come up straight, up, out, back, down. Tell them to place that fourth one. And I count it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. You notice I didn't use Japanese. The reason I do that is so that I can go like this with it. I can go itch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place it down. Knee. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? So I'll count it. In Japanese, we use English as the count to walk them through it. It works out real good. Instead of going itch, knee, it's too confusing. So you can go itch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, we could say tatsubi, tatsu, tatsu, and yan. But that's another way of counting. They count objects, pencils, to home, 4 bows. Objects are counted different ways than we count itch and knee. You couldn't say yan bows or she bows. doesn't work. Objects are counted, and they only count to 10 that way. And it's particular only to the Japanese language, not the Okinawans, not the Chinese. They count 1 to 10 objects. And kids, until they reach age of 10, are counted that way. They're not itchy years old. But anyway, counting an object. You've been reading my periodicals that I send out to you. It says Japanese phase 1 and 2, so you saw that in there. It's in there. Count months that way, things like that. I'm sure you read it. Killing myself for you guys. Okay, now then, do these kicks in a stationary position. In a stationary position, push them out. Again, forcing the toes out. So, we're just in the first part of the kicks. I don't know what number we're on. What number do you think we're on? Well, if 14 was the first part of the kick, what would this one be? What number are we on? 25 basics.
The number of 25.
Yeah. We're on 15. Okay. See. So I know what number 13 was. Now it's just like the first one we do, except we move the ki, right? Punch. Right. 14 is a kick. I now start backing up. 12 was an unusual thing, wasn't it? So was 8. So was 4. And the first 3 were punches. The next 3 were blocks. And they started off with a crossbody block, single bone block, knife hand block, and then I went to those silly little 2 punches, right? Then number 9 was what? Down block, middle block, high block, and then I had an unusual thing at 12. What was that? I punched and kicked under. You see how easy it is to memorize? I just backed up for you guys. That's what you got to do to your student. If nothing else, the first night he knows how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone's heard me teach someone how to count in Japanese. What's the first 4 things I say? I have an itchy knee, son. She? And go away. Droku, it sounds like Roku because it starts with an R, but I say Droku because the R and L's are kind of interchangeable depending on where you're at. And then Sichi is kind of like I figure Spanish, Sichi Hachi, 7, 8, you know, Siochi. Or I say Si, Chi, Ha, Chi. Then Ku, just like a belt level, Q. Ku, and then Ju, like you did that, right? You've heard me teach to count to 10. I use the same routine every time, but I visualize in their mind something to count with. I have an itchy knee, son. Okay? So, you do the same thing with these 25 basics. I back them up. Confuse the issue a little bit, and then say, what's number 15? What is it? Yeah, what is it? You knew what number we were on, but now what is it? Well, it's a kick, but we're going to do something unusual with it, and it's easy to remember. We block, pivot, kick. Block, pivot, kick. Block. Same thing as this kind of motion, isn't it? Block, pivot, kick, right?
Right.
Now, what's unusual about this is it's very difficult to get. It's kind of like walking and chewing gum again. You know, it's like our number 4. It's very difficult to do. So I tell everybody, you want to teach someone to do something first? Teach them to do it this way. Put your hands down to the side and teach them to go like this. Knee touch hand, knee touch hand, kick. Knee touch hand, knee touch hand, kick. Don't let them keep doing this a long time, just a few times. Right? Knee, hand, kick. Knee, hand, kick. Knee, hand, kick. Works excellent for teaching. Then say, put your hands back up here. And just like this kick went out, back, and down, this kick must go and down. Okay? It must go out and down. In the beginning, their balance may be terrible, so you can tell them to do this. Okay? You can tell them to put the foot behind. But eventually, you want to be without it being hooked on. Just back there, touch it. Okay? Guys said, well, I don't understand what this is good for. Illustrate. This one you need to illustrate. So often I tell them they kick me. In reality, I'd probably do this in the street. Wouldn't go very far. But for maximum stretch inside the class, we get a full distance. Okay? But out in the street, it would be more of a okay? So talk to people about this movement and what it's for. And again, use this one last illustration. If you kick me like that and I go like this, what am I leading with? Tightening. And you want to get them out of the habit of trying to block kicks with your hands. Talking to Gary the other night about sparring, and I throw kicks there and he blocked like that, and I said, see? Your appendage. I talked to him about appendages. And I said, Gary, how many appendages can you hit me with? Block my kick with your hand. How many with your hands? Block. How many can you hit me with now? Just one. One appendage, all you have. These are stationary, they're locked in. Now, block it with your shin. How many appendages can you hit me with? 2. Do you have more flexibility? You're not locked in. You can move me out of the way. You can do some change body. I'm now trying to illustrate and define why our system is a little different. Ours is a change body. At this point, I try to say, look, we're going to do some kotiate to condition his leg. Guys, so this hurts if I do this. Say, no, just like your toes, we'll condition it. We don't expect you to be able to do things right away. This is why I tell you guys that you can't have a white belt spar. For him to spar like we do, his body's not ready for it. His techniques are not ready for it. And what is he going to do? He's going to develop some habits. You know what's the worst thing in the world to change? Habit. Worst thing in the world is a habit. And so, if he develops habits as a white belt, it's going to be hard for him to develop the techniques that we use for our fighting. It makes us pretty severe type fighting type style. He's not ready. That's why you don't want white belts to spar. It's not fair to them. You're not doing them any good. That's, well, my other school taught me to spar right away. Well, okay. Let me explain to you. You came to this system because you liked something about it. You saw something different. You saw maybe the black belt illustrate something that impressed you. How do you think he got there? He got there through a series of training requirements that took him to different levels each time. I mean, I never really understood algebra, but calculus was all right, so was trig. But had I not had algebra, I'd had a hard time with some of the others. But if I had been moved right without algebra, it would have been tough, wouldn't it? Nor different than it would be tough after you learn calculus to come back and do algebra. It's very difficult because you know the shortcuts. You see? That's mathematics. That's schooling. That's the same way in what we're teaching here. There's no shortcut. You've got to go up this road the same way. Omit one, take one out of place, you're going to miss the spot. And that spot could be vital to you later on. Why you would have problems with certain other topics. Why you'd have problems with certain fight drills. Why you'd have problems with certain self-defense. Because you missed the spot. Keep that in mind. Explain it to your people. Very, very important. You're preaching a little bit while you're here too. You know. You're trying also to justify why you do things in a reasonable way. Justification is based upon fact, right? You justify something by giving some fact information, give some reasons for it. So explain it to them. Guys, here's a good time to explain why. Your body's going to be strong enough, believe me, after green belt. That's why we want you to start sparring. You know, pre-sparring. Too soon? Not doing anybody any good. Okay. So, that was number 15. What was number 16? Still a kick. Very good. No. So it's easy to remember. We have shin kick. Then we have a side kick. Then a front side kick. So they're really all side kicks, aren't they? All with the knife edge of the foot. So those next three were pretty easy to remember, and that was what number again? 16? Okay. 16, 17, and 18, right? 1. Easy to remember these kicks, right? So I'm here with this front side kick. I'm here with a shin kick. And I'm here with a side kick. What's this? It all has the same principle as a front kick, doesn't it? It goes out, comes back. It's on a 4 count. 1, hip level. 2, back, down. We all know that it has 4 counts, right? Same, right? But there's some differences. What's the first difference that you can tell me? Now you're kicking with the knife edge of the foot and the toes are bent back. Big mistake is this, isn't it? On the side kick. Somebody does this to you. See his neck, see his back, see his body. Okay? Got to get it up. And you're teaching him to do one thing in this kick. Put his heels together and feet are to 45. Precisely. Come down. right?
Right.
Up, down, back, and he falls. Wind. Up, down, back, and he falls. Most likely he lost his rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. He went like this. 1, 2. Now I'll give you a hint why he does that. He's wearing a Century $9 gi. You're wearing a $70 Schrader. Yours is popping. He wants his too. And he is sitting there going, "Brah!" And unless he puts a lot of water on it and tapes it and puts starch in it, he's going to have a hard time doing it. But he's trying so hard. Again, black belts, keep in mind. Brown belts, keep in mind. These guys are copying you. Do the technique. Don't worry too much with it pops. You can make it pop. Save that for when they learn it. You can make that happen. Terrible thing about a beginner who's never done it, and he tries to do that. You watch him come to class. Well, how do you feel? God, my knees were sore the other day. Man, I'll tell you, my knees are killing me. Why are they killing me? I don't know. Maybe it's a kick. I was really putting it into it. And he hasn't even got the muscles for it yet. Keep in mind, these are your students. Educate. So what's the next one? Is this 16 or 17 that we're on? It's the next one. So 16 was what? The shin kick. Okay. And 17 has to be the... And so 15 was what? Block, pivot, kick. Pretty soon it'll come to you. Anything. You'll have this memorized. I know you have it memorized, but how many times do I watch you teach class and you go, okay, now the next one is, all right. Or you go over here and you go, the next one is, oh yeah, okay. Now do you think your students are impressed that you know what's going on at that particular point? Is it smooth? Is it transitional? No. You have to be teachers. That's one of the reasons I wanted to spend some time today. Glad I have the black and belts and the senior brown belts here, because I want you to be teachers, not instructors. I want you to be teachers, not martial artists. You got to communicate. My English is worse than anyone's. It's worse than you can imagine. It still doesn't interfere with communication. That's not communication. How well you speak, how elegant, but how well you communicate. How you do your illustration. Try to make a reason for it. Right? So then, number 18 must be what? Still one of those side kicks. Remember we said that 16, 17, 18 were all kicks with the side. It's a front side kick. I would tell you the feet come apart. But in the first two, the feet are together, heels are together. But in the next one, the feet is apart. What's the other one that has the feet is apart? That's feet apart, not fetus apart. It's feet apart. Don looks at me when he hears these little words come out. Right. So, which one? This one here. Right? So we have two like this, right? Two like this. One like this, kick-wise. And then another one like this, which is the back kick, right? So this one's here. We have two like this. That's all. Because you guys have had problems. You'll say, I don't remember whether my feet are together or apart. Right? Well, you can't do the front side kick with your feet together, can you? It'd be pretty hard, wouldn't it? You can't do this block pivot with your feet together. So logically, you can't do the front one if we're doing it in a front stance. That tells you all the rest are what? Feet together, heel together. Right? Easy to remember. Ever have that problem anymore? Just try to make it work. Okay. And I remember a lot of guys did the front side kick like this. The front kick like this. They'd be walking at the station. We have a small class here in a small room. We're going to be doing kicks. What's the most important thing I might do to my students to offset them? Turn them at a 45. If everything we do is left first, have everyone turn to the left. Make everything left. Not because it's some traditional mystical thing, but it's just a good habit. Left. About face. It's the same way all the time. Right? Start with your... See? So it's a habit. And this is all built around military type things anyway. So turn everybody to the left.